Going everybody, Wade here, Excel Painting Contractors, and you may have noticed my surroundings are a bit different. I've moved office and it's given me a bit more space now. I've still got a bit of work to do on it and clean it up, so excuse the mess. So a project that we did out of Copper Harbour, that's completed, but we're going back out there in a couple of weeks to paint the rafters, the underside of the roof, which is exposed. It's done in pine, and they want to paint it to tie with the rest of the house. At first they didn't want to do that, but now that we've painted the house, it sort of looks out of place. So there'll be more video coming for that. Right, so a few days ago I had a lead that I followed up on, and it was to do with this. They just wanted a wall done on the exterior of the house, so I gave them a call. Long story short, this house is only 2 years old and the paint's falling off it. Not just falling off it, but peeling off like it was paint on glass. It's just flaking off. So the first thing I want to talk about is the customer has already talked to the building company. I'm not going to mention who they are, where they're from. That's not important in this video. But what is important is the builder's turned around with a 2-year-old house and said, look, it's got nothing to do with us. Now, the first thing I want to point out is a builder is responsible for that house for 10 years under the Consumer Guarantees Act. Reputable builders wouldn't have a problem with this. This is not a reputable builder. In fact, this is the issue that we have with the trades. So whether we're the painting trade, building trade, plumbers, electricians, tilers, concreters, you name it, the ones that are trying to do a good job have to deal with these muppets all the time. And what really infuriates me, I don't know about anyone else, but what really infuriates me is people put a lot of money and trust into somebody, you know, and they spend huge amounts of energy and time and money to buy their house, and some people think it's okay to do a crappy job. Now, the first thing that this client said to me was, well, you know, they were cheaper than anyone else. So what I want to say to you is, in my 30 years of painting, I've never had a builder come up to me, or a painter or any other trade, and say, hey, we're going to do the absolute cheapest job we can possibly do. We're going to use the cheapest materials, and we're going to cut corners, and you're not going to have any problems with it. It doesn't happen. What's happened is this potential client has bought a house from you, moved into it. 2 years later, on the west side of the house, the paint is literally just peeling off. There doesn't appear to be any undercoat on it. Well, there is no undercoat on it. So there's a couple of things, and I've talked to master builders, I've talked to a couple of building friends of mine, associates, and one in particular, I'm not going to name him because I haven't got permission to mention him, but he's been around for a very long time, specialises in doing villas, restorations and bungalows. He works up north. He used to work around Devonport, but he's now up the Wellsford way. So if you are looking for somebody to do an exceptional job on your villa or your bungalow or your modern home, but make it look like it was meant to be there, hit me up and I can put you onto him. Anyway, we were having quite a lengthy conversation about it, and he's a builder, and as he said, you know, that building, that job is got to be guaranteed for 10 years. It's got to be fit for purpose. So I just wanted to double check with him that I was on the right page before I lost my cool. I've talked to master painters, and this is the same thing, and the Consumer Guarantees Act covers you. So that's another issue. We've got to work with that, because this builder's turned around and told the client that tough luck, you know, your house has got the paint's falling off it, that's not our problem. It is their problem. So that'll end up in court probably. What I want to talk to you about is, when you are hiring your builder, when you're hiring your painter, when you're buying your house, take the time. I've said this before, but please take the time to look at the credentials of your builder. Make sure that you have warranties when that house is finished, that cover. Now, you're going to have to spend a bit of money and get a solicitor involved. You know, you spend $1 million, 1.4, $2 million, whatever you spend on a house, you're going to have to spend some money. to make sure that that contractor is covering, is doing what they're saying they're meant to be doing, and that you're covered. So I don't even think the person who put the paint on this house was a painter. You're getting a house painted, it should last way more than 2 years, way more than 5 years. Master Painter has a warranty that says a minimum of 5 years. The building code, so builder builds you a new home and they paint it, or they get it painted, they get their tilers, their painters, their driveway guys, the construction company who does that, that is covered by the Consumer Guarantees Act, and that builder is meant to cover that. Now, I cannot state this strongly enough. Builders, painters, tilers, gyp stoppers, concreters, you name it, roofers, all go out of business at some stage. They can go bankrupt, they can move country. So what's your warranty worth? Does it stand outside of the builder? You need to check these things. For instance, important. I digress, but for instance, if you hire me, my company, to paint your house, and it gets a Master Painter's guarantee on it, that guarantee exists whether I'm alive, dead, or indifferent. If it's been signed off by them and something happens within that period of time, that's a 5-year warranty, it happens within that 5-year period of time, the paint falls off, there's a failing of some sort, and it's shown that that's to do with either myself or someone that's worked for me has caused that issue. And as a consumer, you need to back yourself as much as you can. So look at the builder, look at the construction company, look at their history, talk to customers. Just got to do your homework. You got to make sure that all those contracts are binding, that you're covered. No one can come to you and say, oh, tough luck, mate. You go to the Consumer Guarantees Act. You go and seek help. Get a solicitor and get them to do a bit of homework for you. It's worth it. Okay, it's not worth 4 years from now, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, discovering that your house is falling apart and you're in for hundreds of thousands of dollars, because if it's not just the paint side of it, it could be something else. Okay, you have a bad driveway, a leaking home. You know, there are stories upon stories of people that have been caught out. So please spend the time, if you're getting your house built, to look at who's doing that house. Don't go for the cheapest job. It will always end up costing you money.